India is slated to spend $1.4 trillion to develop its infrastructure.
India, which is now taking all the attention of the world. We are sort of seen as one growth powerhouse out there now. This growth is not possible without very fast-paced infrastructure growth.
14 bridges, many of them not even complete, in Bihar collapsed recently. For me, it felt like, those terrible 80s, 90s wale Hindi movies, jahan pe ye gir raha hai, wo gir raha hai. It actually felt like that. Every day something's collapsed.
What is being built today, the huge projects, are not for us.
Indian cities today are unlivable.
And I still believe that, we are very slow. Things like Atal Setu in Mumbai, or like we discussed about Navi Mumbai Airport, they did happen, but they took a lot of time. A lot of private players showing intent, and they have availed Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana's benefits out there. But I think government can do more on this front. Decisiveness is what we need now, and we need it badly.
Our guest today is Ashish Kukreja, founder and CEO of Homesfy, India's first listed real estate brokerage firm. Hello and welcome to What India Needs podcast with me, Shutapa Paul. Here's a fact. A boost to India's infrastructural development will propel its economic growth. No wonder that the Indian government has allocated 10 lakh crores towards infrastructural development in the Union Budget 2023 and 24. Our guest today is Ashish Kukreja, founder and CEO of Homesfy, India's first listed real estate brokerage firm, and he will be discussing all this and more with me here on What India Needs podcast. Ashish, thank you for joining us on What India Needs podcast.
Thanks, Shutapa. Thanks for having me here.
So we are discussing infrastructure development today, of course. India is slated to spend $1.4 trillion to develop its infrastructure.
Yeah.
How do we manage the sustainability aspect and the environment goals while pushing ahead such rapid infrastructure development?
Yeah, I think if the infrastructure story goes, I think this is going to be one of the biggest challenge, because you want to take care of environment while you have a inclusive infrastructure growth in this country. It's a very interesting thing to see now that it's India which is now taking all the attention of the world. We are sort of seen as one growth powerhouse out there now. And this growth is not possible without a very fast-paced infrastructure growth. That's just not possible. And our commitments to global environment cause is very huge. I think our Prime Minister has made some very, very big commitments out there. So I think a lot of things need to be done. Interesting take is also this, that while China was on its path, and taking this like changing gear on economy and infrastructure. This was not such a big issue then, and they kind of made all the mess out of it. But while we now getting into, this zone, everybody's watching us very closely. So I think a lot of things, 3 Ps, good amount of planning, great policy framework, and public-private partnership are 3 very critical areas for us to make sure that we do a good job of it. Yeah.
Right. And also, of course, as you mentioned, the world is looking at India. Indians also looking at the governments and we do want sustainability,
Yes.
given the way climate change has, created such a problem for everybody all over the globe, India included.
Yeah.
Climate resistant infrastructure is what we're hearing about now.
Yes.
How do you see us coping with this demand? Do you see us matching it?
See, there's a blessing in disguise here. While we are building our infrastructure story, technology has taken a leap, So why do I call it a blessing? Because, now you have new technologies and you can do a good job of it. If the planning is done well, definitely, this can be taken care. Now, infrastructure activity itself contributes about 1/4 to the carbon footprint, so to speak. And if you are able to do a lot of good stuff on renewables, which India is doing actually, and green buildings, so to speak, uh, I think there is a possibility that you can bring it down by almost 30-35% by 2030. So having said that, I think it's not an impossible one, but like I said, how do you adopt the technology is going to be is a big enabler for us. Yeah.
Right. Some of the numbers, for everyone who's listening, what kind of infrastructure plans do we have? We
Yeah.
want by 2047 50,000 kilometers of high speed corridors.
Yes.
Our number of airports are going to go up quite a lot, and even the port strength is going to go up. That's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
development. And while a country like ours needs it, it's a very delicate
Okay.
balance with nature. Having said that, we're also talking about green spaces.
Yeah.
How do you think developers, especially, should incorporate green spaces into whatever they're building,
Yeah.
urban planning, homes, residential complexes?
Yeah. No, I think it takes a lot of commitment, and it's with some of the projects which this government was able to take, it seems that uh, they need to have the intent. If government has a very strong intent, it's not impossible. Now, see, our reliance on these 5, 6 major cities and metros is a big issue. We just can't rely. We can't become a biggest economy in the world by just having 6 or 7 centers. If you again, this is a broken record comparison, but I can't help it. It has to be always like that. Let's compare it with China. They're about probably 4 or 5 times the cities which are so-called business centers, if I'm not wrong. And so for that, we need to have uh, like we need to have more commercial and business centers out there, and green space is one of the most. I think it's the worst part of our country's uh, equation at this point of time. I'll say I'll give you some data points here as well. It's about 27% or 30% green coverage for New York and London. And any guess what would be Mumbai or Delhi? What number you get? Just take a wild guess.
I can tell you that in Bangalore, it's a quarter of what it used to be 20 years ago.
Okay.
But I'm sure Delhi and Bombay would be quite close to.
It's about 3%.
My gosh.
So now it is not just about let's say a good lifestyle, or a good it looks good, like not just about that. uh, if you don't have enough green space, you can expect less 5 years of your life. It's as
Yeah.
big a issue as it can be. So I think that's a big issue. And some green shoots we could see. We've heard Hyderabad and cities like Pune, and there are some initiatives being taken to have that minimum kind of a green space coverage, and and lot of other initiatives by government, which did kept a check on developers. So, but I think that's not enough. From 3 to 30, I'm not even taking that as a target. Let's even try to be a respectable 8, 9, maybe.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's very important.
Yeah. And, I'm a firm believer that everything doesn't come from the government, should not come from the government.
Sure.
I think we, as people, as citizens, as consumers,
Yeah.
we need to demand that there should be green spaces,
Yeah.
open spaces,
Yeah.
public spaces,
Yeah.
right? And, we're here shooting in Bombay, and I know that very few schools have playgrounds in Bombay, for example. And when I first came to know about that, I was shocked because, again, I come from Calcutta, and we have most schools have huge playing areas, parks, mart, you call them playgrounds. So I think it's also, if we don't demand it,
Yeah.
then political powers, municipal corporation,
Yeah.
developers, nobody's going to listen to
Yeah.
it, right?
It's a difficult give and take. Let's take Mumbai case in point. We have about 10 million not just Mumbai, let's say 10 million shortfall of homes. Mumbai contributes huge in that number. And, you know, average ticket size here, in what our data suggests is about a crore. Now, how many people can afford a home
Yeah.
worth crore? It's just not possible. So the basic housing itself is a big issue out there. So in such a city, you don't expect. You
Yeah.
just can't expect. You
Yeah.
just can't. उतना सा खुला सा आसमान भी दिख रहा है तो भी बहुत है.
बहुत है, हाँ.
So that's the way it is. And uh, that's the reason government took a lot of initiatives on smart cities. Did put a lot of money there and allocated a lot of investments at that side. We could see some of them coming up well. Almost 100 plus cities are being spoken about, and but that's a long journey ahead. And connectivity and inclusiveness, sustainability, smart planning. I'll repeat that. Unless you are not planning it right, you're not building infrastructure for today. You're building it for next generation. Actually,
Yeah.
come to think of it, uh, I moved to Mumbai in 2004. And that's when I first time I'd seen that airport wala board. In Navi Mumbai. Abhi tak bhi, it's not taken off. So I'm sure it's not being. No. So what is being built today, the huge projects, are not for us. Maybe it's for the next generation.
Yeah.
So I think they need to be sustainable. They need to be future oriented. So yeah, I think we are demanding smart cities. We are demanding, sustainable townships and everything. But yeah, I think for that we need to have higher connectivity. That cannot happen in MMR. You have to
Yeah.
go and outside, sort of Mumbai and create in more and more hubs. Wherein there is a job creation, there is residential creation out there. So yeah, there is a possibility. Interestingly, there was a time when few developers started positioning them as sort of green buildings and stuff like that. And there were no takers for it. There's like we thought that probably this can be a good pitch to some of those high net worth individuals. They may prefer to buy X versus Y because X is more environment friendly, but nobody cares actually.
So it really boils down to us demanding as well
Absolutely.
and caring as well.
Absolutely.
Not only for ourselves but future generations. And Indian cities today are unlivable, and I think there
Yeah.
is no main tier 1 city today
Yeah.
which is not either reeling under air pollution,
Yeah.
water pollution, sound pollution. If there's rains, you're floating. It's literally, there are floods in Chennai and Bangalore right now.
Yeah.
When it's very hot, there's no water. Post Diwali, you can't breathe. In Delhi, you can't breathe here in Bombay,
Yeah.
even though you're right at the ocean.
Yeah.
So for us to develop outward and move into tier 2, tier 3 cities,
Yeah.
have those smart cities is now not an option. It's
Absolutely.
pretty much a compulsion.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like on risk of being repetitive, we can't grow without having more business centers and commercial centers, and we need to create employment. We need to create connectivity, and I think the road infrastructure has definitely helped a lot in last few years. But I think it's that's not enough, and yeah, I think. In Bombay, we say that there cannot be any building without a track, a road, or a nala. Whatever. You just can't find any building which will have, or maybe slums. If you find one without either of
Either.
these, you are lucky enough. So that doesn't happen here, and I completely agree. I think most of the cities have some or other issue. I don't know. I've heard people in Bangalore going to shower in mall or something.
Oh,
Is it true?
absolutely. It is. In some parts of Bangalore, when there was the water crisis.
Oh, I thought it's just a joke.
No, it's true.
Okay.
I mean, they were actually hopping across to the mall
Oh God.
to use the toilets over there, and
Okay.
these are people who are living in apartments which are 2.5, 3 crores upwards.
Wow.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's really
It's
sad.
absolutely sad. So yeah, I think quality of life is another area which I believe that when we talk about smart cities, we've just discussed about it. Uh, I think it doesn't make sense if you're not able to now give a chance to quality of life, you know.
Yeah.
If now
Yeah.
you are sort of creating these new hubs and new
Yeah.
cities, it's important that you take care of quality of life as well.
Yeah.
Hospitals,
Yeah.
schools, you know, everything needs to
Yeah.
be, and I hope it's not on the paper this time.
Yeah. I mean, look at the frothing Yamuna
Yeah.
right now as we speak, and it's heartbreaking because for us as a country, we have so many religious sentiments also associated with our rivers, and yet we have not cared for our rivers,
True.
and it's so very urgent.
True.
You mentioned about connectivity,
Yeah.
and let me share some stats with you.
Sure.
So India is very well connected by roads.
Mm-hmm.
60% of our transportation is via road, which compared to China, China's is only 30%.
Okay.
Japan is only 10%.
Okay.
US is 37%. So somewhere we are heavily reliant on road
Yeah.
infrastructure. It's again something that we're trying to develop.
Yeah.
Somewhere it's a bit skewed because so much reliance on road infrastructure
Yeah.
instead of say railways, maybe even better airports
Yes.
which are coming up.
That's
So what do you think of that?
No, I clearly think so. You know, see, like I said, you know, I just traveled to Uttarakhand, you know, recently, and I traveled through Bareilly Airport. You know, so
Okay.
the connectivity was so awesome. You know, so I just heard I heard couple of days back that now Saharanpur has an airport like that. You know, clear to so you know this is a good kind of the connectivity is definitely increasing and they are creating those centers. And while I was there and trying to sort of explore that place, I could see that airport is really helping a lot, you know, in terms of, you know, having businesses being moved there and stuff like that. And, you know, you're not left with any option. For example, most of these, let's say, factories or workshops or whatever, you know, are now being converted into commercial spaces. Or when I say commercial spaces, you know, buildings and residential. So these units have to move out and they need to sort of establish themselves outside. And a lot of these units are now moving to these zones out there and, you know, which are well connected. And so I think uh, there is no way we can make a move on economy front if we don't have a very very well connected you know economy out there like that. So and I still believe that, you know, we are very slow, you know. Things like Atal Setu in Mumbai, or like we discussed about Navi Mumbai Airport, they did happen, but they took a lot of time, you know. So the most important thing is that, you know, we plan it so well that at least we deliver those key projects in time, you know. And the good thing is that you can see it everywhere. Just that, you know, Delhi Metro is a good example, you know, where it happened well, it happened in time, and, you know, so if there is a good planning, you know, if it's backed by good planning, you know, we can sort of have few wins out there. Yeah.
And I think the over reliance on road infrastructure can come if our rail network,
Yes.
which is, of course, we have an excellent railway system.
True.
However, you know, while we're pushing on the high speed and the
Yes.
bullet trains, we've seen that there have been certain unfortunate accidents and
yeah.
all on the other side,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Japan, for example, is extremely dependent
yes.
on its rail
Yes, rail
network.
net- yes.
So a lot of planning needs to happen
Absolutely.
on that front as well, won't you say?
Absolutely. No. I think, you know, if we have done well on the roads, probably we have not done a good job on railway front, you know, and not just, you know, I don't know why it took so much time for cities like Mumbai to, you know, get into metro, you know,
Yeah.
you know, when I traveled probably some 15, 20 years back, probably you know, to closer Thailand or maybe, you know, Dubai or you know Malaysia, you know, all these cities had metro at that point of time, like 15 years
Sir,
back.
Calcutta had metro
Correct.
25 years, 30 years ago.
Correct.
The city of my birth. I mean,
Absolutely.
we went to the metro. We were like, wow.
Yeah,
You know,
I
but it
remember
took
that.
so
Yes,
long
absolutely.
for even Delhi metro to come.
Absolutely. So I think decisiveness is what we need now, and and we need it badly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there is, you know, this is high stakes right now, right? For India, I think everything that we do, I'm so glad you said that all eyes are on us,
Yes.
because it is.
Yeah.
And many things which, could have slid,
Yeah.
now it won't,
Yeah.
right? But because of that, all our mess ups are also that much more
Yeah.
amplified,
Yeah.
right? 14 bridges, many of them not even complete,
Correct.
in Bihar,
Yeah.
collapsed recently.
Yes.
I mean, when we are pushing forward with
Yeah.
infrastructural
Yeah.
development,
Yeah.
how do we ensure quality development?
Yeah.
For me, it felt like, those terrible 80s, 90s wale Hindi movies,
Yeah.
जहाँ पे ये गिर रहा है, वो गिर रहा
Correct.
है.
Correct.
It actually felt like that.
Yeah.
Every day something's
Yes.
collapsed. How do you build transparency, better bidding systems,
Yes.
lack
Yes.
of corruption?
Absolutely. No, I think that's very, very important, and accountability is very important. So, like, for example, we have against these 14, we have those very good examples as well, which is only possible because you have a very strong private public partnership.
Yeah.
And I could see it that wherever we had a transparent ecosystem, the results are there. So I think I can clearly see that these things should be taken very, very seriously. And uh, like we just discussed, on Atal Setu, for example, uh, the change it could bring in the Mumbai's ecosystem, and the kind of quality it could deliver is clearly visible because of the intent out there. It's just that the sad thing is one government comes, they have intent, and the other government wants to overrule that. Because of political reasons. The only thing which I believe on some of the parameters or some of the aspects, we need continuity. You can't just break it.
Yeah.
You may be from any political party, and you may be from whatever school of thought or whatever, but there are few things which you should not compromise on, and that's the only thing which can change this. If there is a project which is required, which needs timely execution, for example, you know uh, like say Mumbai Metro again. What if the next government comes and starts to double, maybe this is not right, that is not right, and it sort of just changes the whole perspective on the project, gets delayed. All these things are impacting us a lot. When we know that some of these projects or some of these partnerships are crucial, we need continuity. No government, no matter from what background they are, should compromise on them like that. So I think like it all boils down to intent, like that. Yeah.
I've always thought that I so believe in this continuity of policy and
Yeah.
regulation.
Yeah.
It helps with development. It helps the businesses
Yeah.
because you are not, it's not unpredictable.
Sure.
Sadly, because there's so much politics involved in all levels of governance, I wish we could have like a very independent body who could continue with developing a certain place
Sure.
without being influenced by the government of the day.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that would make life so much easier
Absolutely.
for everybody.
Absolutely.
Affordable housing, again, is a very important thing, right?
Sure.
As you mentioned, cities are living in the metros is becoming more and more expensive. How do we, kind of plan for it? What
Yeah.
do you think the government should do? Where does the private uh,
I think
private
this is
player
another
come into
area where
place as well?
private-public partnership is a very big is a very big need, because to make house affordable, developers need to get some perks from the government, and though government have taken a lot of initiatives, like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana was a big initiative, and I think almost like 50-60% of it has sort of moved in right direction, so to speak. But again, like if I see a recent example, when interest rates went up, last year, the biggest impact was on affordable housing, which clearly shows that the moment the prices start to go high, or the the impact is really huge on this segment. While nothing happens to let's say a luxury housing or even a mid segment housing, when interest rates go high, they continue to sort of sell. So which means they need to be really affordable. You have to do everything possible to see to it that people are sort of getting basic good housing. We are not in affordable housing, you're not expecting like amenities and stuff like that. You need basic, so that slum dwellers out there from Bombay or in Bombay can have a basic housing out there. So I think that way, I believe that affordable housing can help a lot. And I can see a lot of private players showing intent. And they have availed Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana's benefits out there, and but I think government can do more on this front, and it can really turn around the housing sector in a big way.
You obviously also have for many years been talking to developers. You work with developers, you deal with them.
Sure.
As a real estate insider, do you see the developers truly incentivized to provide green spaces, meet sustainable goals, work on open spaces? I mean, is that something that you see them naturally thinking, or people don't
See,
want it,
it's
as you
there.
mentioned earlier? That
Different
is that a
regions behave
sentiment?
differently. I can't say for every state out
Okay.
there, but our coverage is like, for example, in Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Delhi. You know, definitely. It's there. It's a part of the sort of a, when you get approvals, you need to sort of meet certain regulations out there, and for example, there is a certain, you know you need to create a certain green space before you get approval, or you apply for extra TDR and stuff like that. But that's not enough. I think that's what probably, if I read your question, I understand your question right. That's not enough. Government needs to really, really push hard, and homes are being sold well, capital is coming, we are in a good real estate rally. This is just the right time for government to sort of see to it that they create this urgency out there, both for a seller and a buyer out there. And they, if they can pass on some perks to both of them in a way, I'm just thinking out of the box, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
this can really help, I think. And it's high time, it's just the right time, because you know uh, we have no ready to move homes available at this point of time. That's the kind of demand we have seen post COVID in almost every
Yeah.
metro in this country. So prices have really gone up in last 2 3 years, which clearly showcases that there's a demand. So when you are in this kind of a zone, this is right time for you to sort of push the hard things, on both the fronts, like I said. So I think, yeah, government is can do more on this front.
Right. Which states and cities do you see being, as you said, that
Yeah.
region specific? The insights that you're gaining are region specific. Who are more interested
Yeah.
in being more
Yeah.
sustainable, green spaces, pani bachana hai?
Uh,
Which states or
it's like,
cities would you say?
surprisingly, these are smaller cities where you see these initiatives where their local municipal bodies are very, very strong, and very involved, and they are sort of, they always try to meet certain benchmarks out there. Uh, so
Wow.
Indore and of this world, Surat, these are the cities where you will see a lot of these policies which are favoring a certain quality of life. As when you go for those approvals, you need to see to it that
Right.
uh, so surprisingly, I
Yeah.
think maybe bigger cities just can't afford it. It's just not possible. There's too much at stake. Government earns a lot. A lot of stamp duty, a lot of government survives because of a lot of money comes from this sector. So they really can't. They can't afford to pause. They just can't. It's like riding a bicycle. You'll fall. So, but they still keep pushing the agenda. But on the flip side, some of these cities which I mentioned, in terms of metro, we'll not talk about Bangalore, Mumbai, Kolkata, but I think I'm not an expert
Can't.
on that city, but we've recently started our Hyderabad office, so I've been traveling there. I think they are also doing a pretty neat job, on this front. One can sense that, but yeah, I think smaller cities are are leading the pack.
One more reason why tier 2, tier 3 India absolutely must
Yes,
grow. Jobs
yes,
should happen, offices should be there. We do have
yes,
people in our team who are from tier, we have a small
absolutely,
team, but we have people and we want them
absolutely.
to live near their place, be happy.
Yes,
Because let's
yes,
ease the tier 1 cities. Let's
true,
ease our
true,
Bombays and Bangalore's and Delhi's, right?
sure.
Let's come to your journey.
Sure.
You have had a great career, right? And of course, you're also
Yes.
you founded
Yes.
Homesfy and Mymagnet. So tell us a bit about your journey. Did you always want to
Yeah.
be in real estate
Yes.
because you started with finance?
Cool.
So tell us a
So
bit about
I
that.
started my career in 2004. This was after my MBA in finance from ICFI Hyderabad, and uh, never thought that I'll be in real estate for sure. Had a lovely experience with Kotak Securities as my first job. It was like a startup then. And a great fan of Uday Kotak's management, and it was very obvious. That school which I was in my first job, led me to sort of start my own on my own in 2011. We initially started as financial services. I was part of equities for a long time. Uh, but nothing like that typical story that I was looking for a home, and then I got a bad experience, and then I thought, let me become a messiah and solve the problem. Nothing of that sorts. But a lot of customers were looking for a good solution, and I think so ironical, in our business, that a huge ticket size investment and and no service standard. I'm talking about the time we started, and a lot of information gaps, and I couldn't help myself. Said, people are so emotional about their home, and I could see that it's so carelessly managed by a lot of people. While there are good players in the market, they're always there, but not in a scalable manner. The solution is very far in between, so to speak. So I that's how it all started for us. It happened with requirement from one customer, and one thing led to another, and like selling, or rather advising on handful of customers in our first year of existence, to doing it for over 3,000 customers in a given year, was a journey. And we still believe we have long way to go, because a lot of structured experience is still missing, you know through a lot of technology trainings. And I believe we have still not got a very scalable solution out there, but it seems we are ready for it now. It's like today's new age consumer is looking for those solutions, and Homesfy is trying to be one of the key service providers out there. Yeah.
Wonderful. But tell me that moment, an evening or a few days when you decided that, you know what, I'm done working. I'm now going to be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, and you are a bootstrapped entrepreneur. And for people here you who don't
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
wanted to actually join the army first, right? That was your. So, ye kaise
Sure.
hua? This is all such different goals. Tell us about the
I,
army
I
part
I
first. Why
probably
did you
thought
give
in
it
my
up?
generation most of the kids you know uh, would like to join army. I don't know. I'm surprised that I'm one of few, or I think most of us would. In my school, uh, it was very flamboyant, to and maybe it has to also do with this element of desh bhakti in my home. I my my
Yeah,
my
yeah.
granddad was actually teacher to Shahid Bhagat Singh, and
Wow.
we were not allowed to sit if there's a national anthem anywhere close to us playing. And we have those audio cassettes of desh bhakti songs in our home. So we always, like, we grown up
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So, and uh, maybe few movies I would have watched, so that's how the army thing happened. I have my maternal family, my mom's brothers, and who are in army, always used to like watch them, and very used to get a lot of inspiration from them. So always wanted to be like them, like that.
Yeah.
So that's how army happened, but the army dream happened. But I think if I have to pick one moment, because there are many moments where I would have thought that I can do a good job of building a business, but I think first moment would be when I read my first business book. And I was on in a I was traveling from Chandigarh to my hometown, and somebody just gave this book to me, and I started reading it. It was an autobiography of Jack Welch, straight from guts. And I was just a 16-year-old, and I had no understanding of business, but that was such a story. I just couldn't leave that book for next like 4 or 5 days. I was like, I was only sleeping for 2 hours and 3 hours and only reading that book. So it impacted me so much, that moment I thought that, this is what I want to do. I want to like be building business, it was never like being entrepreneur or CEO or whatever. I was wanting to build businesses out there. So I think that also helped me, having my case in my family that I want to do management, commerce, and taking this call of moving to Mumbai as my first job. All that was inspired by that event. And then, like I said, lot of impact from Uday Kotak School of building business, and getting inspiration from a lot of entrepreneurs on the way. So yeah, I think that's about it.
But was it an overnight decision, or what was that, the night before you like decided, or the night that you
Yeah.
decided, or why
No,
night?
it
Could
was
be
very
day also.
natural. That's what I was, when I thought of having, I'd said goodbye to that assignment, and when you sort of think what is the next thing for you, I couldn't think of anything else. I was just not able to. I can't even. I I was not even thinking of where, what job. I was just thinking this is what I need to do next now. You know. Uh, and I thought that let's not calculate too much here and let's go about it. So I had this one investment which I made, and I sold it, and got little capital, and just went ahead, and I was blessed to have great team, initial years, and even now. And I think if you are not backed by a good team, these things don't work. So I think
Yeah.
one thing then led to another that way.
Wow. And then, of course, Mymagnet is
Yes.
bringing a much needed
Yes.
tech
Yes.
revolution, I think, to the broker side of things. So tell us a bit
So
about
again, a very
Mymagnet and your
sort
vision
of a
behind it.
commonsensical kind of a thought that we've been building this. We know what can go wrong when you move from 10 to 100 bookings, 100 to 200. Let's say 200 to 400, and we could see so many good entrepreneurs or players out there, not able to take the next level, not able to take the next phase, because there is a lack of expertise or technology, or support, and maybe in few cases capital as well. So I think Magnet was born seeded with that thought that what if we are able to help few talented people in this real estate advisory space, and we partner with them, and that's how Magnet was born. And eventually it became a very tech enabled platform wherein we created a mobile app wherein we sort of deal with these. Now we have over 15,000 Magnet partners who are part of the ecosystem, and the business is growing with each passing day. Yeah.
Wow. So is it like a
It's a
subscription based
co-broking
thing? Do
platform,
they,
so it's
what
like
kind of,
you
how
don't
do
have
you,
you just sign up,
okay.
and we co-broke. It's like that. So uh, the more you do, the more you get.
Right.
That's the sort of method to it. Yeah.
Wow. So, of course, Homesfy is India's
Yeah.
first listed real estate brokerage firm. And of course, you have this wonderful
Yeah.
tech initiative, prop tech initiative, Magnet. What is your forward
Yeah.
outlook for Homesfy and for Magnet in 5 years or 3 years?
Oh, it's
What are the
huge.
targets that
As
you've
in, the
kind of
opportunity is
set?
huge. I would say that being a listed one, I may not be able to make too many futuristic statements, but I can tell you that sector is doing really,
Right.
really well, and not too many institutions out there who want to commit for a long haul, and we clearly see that as a big opportunity. Uh, as a core statement, I can tell you that we want to build a lasting institution, which can be done with depth of management, technology, and everything out there. So, the cycle is going for, we are in this cycle where there's a tailwinds for this sector, and we see the cycle to go for at least now 5-10 years, and and the technology adoption has really worked well for most of the players. And going ahead, there is so much which is happening in prop tech space, which the ecosystem itself is sort of moving very fast. So we believe that even if b- uh, let me give you a few data points. Let's say for in primary markets itself, India does about 7 lakh odd crores in top 10, let's say 8-10 cities. you know uh, Mumbai is a big chunk. Mumbai does, let's say, about 3 lakh crores. The biggest player would not be more than 4,000 crore. Which is like, it's a very very fragmented
Right.
space. Uh, the biggest brokerage and advisory firm in China is 7, 8, 10% market share, in some segments. So I think there is a big headroom out there for like we have seen consolidation happening in the developers, we see consolidation happening in this space as well.
Right.
We see a lot of players trying to create more and more solution and consolidating the space. So I think that's the opportunity in front of us, and as we scale, we want to build a quality business. Yeah.
So you've obviously not given any numbers because you're listed.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But what about geographies in terms of percentage or of percentage in terms
Yeah.
of growth, or at least the cities? Is there anything
Yeah,
that you could
absolutely. I
share with
think the
us which is
first
a
phase is
forward
always the
outlook?
top 7, 8, 10 cities. We are in 5 of them, and you want to be, because almost like 60-70% business comes from these cities. Then you have to sort of
Right.
go and take up the tier 2. Uh, so I think that's where we phase it out. Next couple of years we would like to try to out reach out to these opportunities. And yeah, so in terms of
Right.
geography, like that, not a lot of related businesses out there. We would like to explore them as well. We are into advisory space. I think,
Such as?
you can do property management, you can do loan syndication. There's a lot which can be done. Which is a part of our value chain. So we are always on lookout and exploring these opportunities. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Also, coming back to your entrepreneurial journey, when you look back, what would you consider to be your biggest achievement? And because
Yeah.
bootstrapping a business is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Startups, it's the hot
Yeah.
topic. There's a lot of
Yeah.
money coming into startups, into good startups, of course. But
Yeah.
bootstrapping a business can be
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the old way of doing dhanda, right? So what would you say was your biggest achievement and
Yeah.
also your
Yeah.
failure? Because we don't talk
Yeah.
about
I
failures
think your
enough, but failures have
question itself
learnings.
has an answer, that I think the only achievement, if at all, I don't think that I have achieved anything which is worth mentioning, that, I've achieved that. I don't think I clearly believe in Warren Buffett's school of thought, that you are learning till the last day, and I would expect that the organization which I'm building also, kind of resonates with this thought, that we learning, we are growing, we're learning, we're growing, and to learn you have to make
Yeah.
mistakes. You just can't learn without making mistakes. So there are
Yeah.
almost very few, zero or no achievements, but a lot of mistakes. Let's say that. Now, and as an achievement, like I said, your question as an answer, I think having bootstrapped the company and reaching this level, I think was achievement for the team, for every one of us. As the team kept on building up and pushing the journey forward. So that I would consider the achievement of the team, that we were able to build a business of a reasonable size. Uh, uh, and failures are so many of them, so I don't know which one to mention. But if I have to pick, I don't call it a failure, but yeah, like I said, a lot of learnings, mistakes. Uh, there was a time when we were doing really really well, and we were like very early days of our existence, and I think I could have changed the gears then. And one of my team member told, sir, हम लोग तब थोड़ा अगर aggressive हो जाते तो we could have really covered those 2 years. So I think I call it, like, for example, it just flashed in my mind. You ask the questions, there's so many of them. So I kind of really resonated with that thought. We should have taken risk then. So learning to take risk, learning to do a lot of other stuff. So I think risk taking itself is a big talent you need to have. So I think I was not able. I didn't learn that lesson then. But after COVID, that was a time for us to take risk, and which we did, and that helped us. So yeah, I think every mistake is for a reason, and I hope I make more in future. But the ones which don't make me go out of the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I so it so resonates with me what you said, that taking risks is in itself You have to kind of
Yeah.
convince yourself, especially if you're a bootstrapped entrepreneur. And I can
Yeah.
totally understand, because there's a lot
Yes.
holding you back. You're not like playing around with people's
Absolutely.
money, you're playing around with your
Correct.
own money. So
Absolutely.
calculated risk, but then sometimes you miss the
Yes.
boat.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
we
very
think
important to
we think the
balance
same
it.
way now. You know, we are very
Yeah.
rather we have become extremely cautious now because though we have got the capital, but we are a public listed company, so we're very
Yeah.
cautious of what decisions we take, and that's the balancing act which we need to learn now. You know, as a growing company. Yeah.
Right. Right. Also, very interesting aspect of your life is spirituality, right? You're deeply into it, you practice it. How does it shape your life? How does it help you as an entrepreneur, as a professional as well?
There's no. I think this is such a topic that there is no single line answer but
We can have a whole podcast
absolutely,
session
I
on
know. I
it.
would
Yeah.
love to do that because it has helped me a lot, and that's the reason. I think it. If I have to give you one word, it's awareness, right? How aware you are about about yourself, about things happening around you, and you know, I think if you go on spirituality path, your awareness goes high. It sort of becomes better every day. If you're committed to spirituality, it'll just keep getting better and better and better. And I think as an aware person, you are in a more happier space, because uh, and maybe also if I have to add too big, like you did ask, so how is it helping me? And another important thing is that you will never be able to avoid difficult phases of your life. They will come. They have to come, and they come for a reason. Uh, Easier said than done, I know, but at that point of time, if your spirituality is with you, you really learn a lot from them. You are
Yeah.
one, you're able to manage them well, but at the same time, you're also able to get that gratitude, and you can feel so empowered. You feel so good about being blessed as someone, you know um, so I think spirituality does help you to phase out those inevitable bad times, which are there, which can come on your health front, personal front, professional front. So I think that's two benefits. But yeah, that's about it. I can go on this. Yeah.
No, but and in your daily routine, I'm sure and I know that spirituality is a big
Yeah.
part of it. If you had to, and this is pretty much my
Sure.
last question, um, few tips, 5 tips, 10 tips, as many as you want, to entrepreneurs, especially those who are
Yeah.
bootstrapping. What would your tips be?
See, very simple. I think again, like you said, the list is long here as well. But I think one, you need a great team, build team. That's very important. Um, I think second is that embrace failures. We discussed about it. Don't if if you're on a mission, you will face those hurdles. Welcome them. Because they are the lessons you learn on the way to build up, right?
Hmm.
So fail fast, as they say. So try to fail fast. Uh, don't be the smartest person in the room. I completely believe in it. If you are the one, uh, you will get stuck. So uh, uh, I think work on your business model. Don't uh, you know see to it that your business model is creating value. Because there are times when you will question your vision, and those are the times when you need to really believe in what value you are creating over a period of time. So
Yeah.
you need to be really sure about what value you want to create in terms of the kind of respect you build, and the returns you build for investors and stuff like that. So solutions you give to your stakeholders, your suppliers, your consumers, your employees, stuff like that. So I think uh, so so be very good with numbers. You
Hmm.
can't really build a scalable business if you are not a numbers person. You need to know your numbers. I think, yeah, I can go on and on, but yeah, I think these are few
You can go.
top things which come to my mind. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, there is so much to learn, and I think
Sure.
one session is not enough. So I think I will need to have
Anytime.
you back again.
Thank you
But
so
thank you
much,
so much,
Shutapa. Thank you.
Ashish.
Absolutely.
Pleasure
Thank you so
having you.
much. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on What India Needs podcast. Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you would like to see a topic or a guest discussed, leave it in comments below. Thank you and see you next time.